Do you have some ambitious goals for 2025? Well, we do too. Keep listening for some money inspiration. Hello, and welcome to the Wealth Minded MD podcast with your money best friends. I'm Dr. Brittany Halford.
And I'm Dr. Alicia Taylor.
And of course, we're here to help you build wealth and make good money decisions so you can create the life you desire with more control over your time. Hey, Alicia, one of the most important financial tasks we do as doctors is protect ourselves, which means getting the right insurance. I recall purchasing my insurance policy just a few days before I graduated from residency. What was your experience?
So I got my insurance when I graduated from medical school right before I started residency. I actually called a few agents, but I had the best service from Pradeep Auto at PKA Insurance Group. He was super responsive and personable. Unlike some of the other agents, Pradeep actually got me quotes from all the major companies and actually took the time to explain the nuances in each of their policies. What I loved most is that he wasn't just this way for me. Whenever I would send one of my friends to him, he would not only speak to them, but he'd also let them know where to go or who to contact if there were better options or discounts available.
At PKA Insurance Group, Pradeep Auto and Matthew Peterson are independent brokers focusing on disability and life insurance. They excel in securing coverage for physicians and other medical professionals. Discounts on disability insurance can range from 10 to 40% depending on your situation. And there is now an A+ rated carrier offering up to $10 million of life insurance without lapse. If you are very healthy with limited to no medical issues, approval is likely in 5 minutes. Reach out to PKA Insurance to discuss your disability or life insurance needs at www.pkainsurance.com or call 1-800-258-1018. All right. Well, Leisha, it's a new year. I'm just really excited. I know we've already had our New Year episode, but it's still the new year. I don't know. When do you stop saying Happy New Year to people? I feel like I say it all the way through January.
Same. Started even before the new year where I would say Happy Holidays. If I don't see you, Happy New Year, all those things. You know, we're in that season.
So this is still very much appropriate for me to be reflecting and feeling like, oh my gosh, we're in 2025. All right. So please let us know what has been going on in your life in this new year.
Yeah. So I think I had mentioned before that around this time of the year, I really like to take some time off to reflect and recharge. I talked about how I'd been strategic in the past about asking for time off and getting paid holidays and being flexible with my schedule and all that stuff. So anyway, saying that to say that I have taken off from the 23rd of December through January, 6th, I think. So as we're recording this, still off work. And so it's been lovely. Spent some time with family, obviously had a good Christmas. And then now I'm really thinking about what do I want 2025 to look like? And it's been great because yes, we make money goals, which I know we're going to get into later, but I also like to reflect personally and think, what are things that I want to do differently? Usually I try to read a certain amount of books each year. Last year was a little hectic for me, so I didn't read as many books as I had wanted to, but this year, obviously, that's something that I'm trying to change, making sure that I'm setting good habits. Like when I wake up in the morning, being really diligent about reading a devotional and reflecting, reading before bed, trying not to drink too much wine. I've really gotten into these non-alcoholic drinks. It's so funny. I started off trying to buy them for my sister-in-law who's pregnant. It was around Christmas time and my family, I wouldn't say they're alcoholics, but definitely have their fair share of drinks around the holidays. I didn't want my sister-in-law to feel left out or awkward. And so I had been on a personal mission of like, okay, let me get these non-alcoholic drinks for her. And of course I was like, I got to try them out, got to make sure they're good. So what would happen is I would go to the wine store, go to the non-alcoholic section, ask about these different drinks, and I would try some of them. Or I would go in there so often that the managers now know who I am, which says something about me. I went into the wine store with one of my friends and she goes, the people here know who you are by name. And I was like, okay, I know how this sounds. But to be fair, we are in the non-alcoholic section. So anyway, I've been trying all of these non-alcoholic drinks and I really do like them. And so I am hoping that in the new New Year, I'll continue some of the non-alcoholic stuff. Sometimes I do dry January. We'll see if I'm actually going to follow through on that. But yeah, these are some things that I'm doing. I'm taking time off work, reflecting, trying to read more, trying to drink a little less wine, spend some more time with family. And so that's kind of what's been going on around here.
Yeah, I love that you carved out so much time for yourself. In the month of January, I typically, historically, have taken January off. I am working this January.
Wait, the
But
whole month? What kind of job do you have?
well, I typically work New Year's from the December 28th post Christmas through the New Year. That's usually the holiday that I have because, I'm old and I like to go to sleep on New Year's Eve. So I let all the young people party. But I take or historically have taken January off because my kids are in daycare and that's when everyone else is coming home from the holidays. And there's just a lot of illnesses. Even now, you could hear I have a little rasp in my voice. So that's what I have historically done. This year, because I'm working this hospital to home and I'm doing that role and I live so close to the hospital, I can do a lot of the work virtually, go and pop in, see patients when necessary, return back home. So it provides a level of flexibility. So I'm doing that for the month of January and hopeful that my kids don't get too sick. I asked my husband the other day, I was like, oh, can I leave Brooke at home to drop KJ off? And literally, it's like a 7-minute walk to daycare. And then it'll be a 7-minute walk back where I could run. And he's like, no, I would call Child Protective Services on you.
Wait, how old is your daughter?
She's 6.
This is a very controversial topic. How old does your child need to be left at home alone? I hear what you're saying. You're like, hey, I'm only going to be gone for 15 minutes. And your husband's like, absolutely not. I would call CPS even on my own wife. Don't you dare leave our 6-year-old at home alone. What are you doing? So if you're listening to this episode and you too have kids or have strong opinions about what age kids can be left alone, I know it may vary based on their maturity level. Please let us know. I want to say first, I'm always on your side. However, in this instance, your husband is making a little sense. 6-year-old seems a little young to me, but what do I know? I don't have kids.
I mean, I trust that Brooke would not get into anything. It's just like if anything were to happen, what would she do? So she knows if something happens, then you go to our neighbor's house, ring their doorbell. She knows how to get to the school if she needed to leave, if something was caught on fire. She knows how to call my mom. Like we have a house phone. I was even thinking, oh, I could just talk to her on the house phone as I'm walking there and walking back because it's not that far. But was it just leaving her at home for convenience? She's sick. So I don't know. It's just, we make it work. I ended up just putting her in the car in her pajamas and then driving in to drop off KJ and things were perfectly fine. But I thought about it more than once. That's why I asked for permission because I'm not quite sure.
Okay, I get it. I get it now. You're saying your daughter is sick. And so you don't want to have to
Yes.
take her out of the house because she's not
Yes.
feeling well. So you're wondering,
Right.
can you leave her at home for 15 minutes while you drop your other child's off? I'm sure
Exactly.
people listening will be like, you're married. Could one parent stay home and one parent do drop? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get into your business, but I'm sure you worked it all out.
We did work it out. So I hurried to get KJ ready, and my husband actually dropped him off in this instance. But there are other instances where I just have to take the sick child with me because, schedules don't always work out. We have other things that we have to do. And I understand if one parent's going to be home with the sick child, then they should be actually caring for the sick child and doing the other tasks. So, anyhow, that's it.
You guys are working it out. It's so funny. I was listening to a different podcast. The host is a mom, and somebody had asked her, like, you watch your kids while your husband is working and doing his thing. Does he watch the kids while you're working and doing your thing? And she was like, I don't want to knock my husband. How do I say this in a polite way? No. Whenever I leave the house, I make sure that I'm covered. I have childcare. Not a knock on my husband. I just make sure that things are fine. So I feel like that's your sentiments. You're like, not a knock on my husband. No.
It's really interesting, Leisha, how different the operations are between husband and wife in this heterosexual relationship. I get this a lot from women. Recently, Brooke and I went to church for a Christmas bazaar and we left KJ home and he didn't have a coat. And then so I said that to one of the children's church leaders. She was like, he got here in one piece. He has clothes on. He looks very comfortable to me. Girl, don't sweat the small stuff. So, it's just you make it work. You don't sweat the small stuff. And just know that your spouse is going to do things differently than you will when you're caring for your kids. And it just makes your kids more adaptable.
I love the positive spin. Look at this. I love the positive spin because I'm sure that your patience and thought process has been challenged more than once. So
Oh,
you've learned to
yes.
be flexible. Anyway, this is great. Do you have any money mishaps or confessions to share with the people today?
Yeah, and thinking about this, I mentioned, I think a few episodes ago about just rounding out the year. And because we waited until the end of the year, I think we missed out on a few opportunities to invest a little bit more to reduce our tax bill or our tax liability a little bit more, the amount of taxes that we owe. So I'm just trying to think about, okay, how can I be more thoughtful about, and we're going to talk about this with setting goals, right? About pairing some of the things that I love to do, which is save money on taxes, but don't always do what I need to do in order to get the tax savings. How can I pair that with something else that I do on a regular basis? How can I set it up and kind of take me out of the equation so that I'm not missing opportunities to invest more, to save more, and to reach those goals faster? So that's just kind of like, as far as like investing in oil and gas, we could have put more away and saved more on taxes, and we didn't.
Don't feel bad. I mean, I think it's nice to reflect on the things that you did do, right? The fact that you were even thinking about making different kinds of investments because of their tax benefit, obviously the investment profit is a step ahead. I mean, I'm not investing in oil and gas. And so the fact that you're even doing it a little bit, I think deserves to be commended. The fact that you even have a really good tax strategist who can help you keep some of those things organized is fantastic. And also, I love that you have outsourced some of this, right? Not that you can't do your taxes yourself or file it yourself, but you've hired help that can maybe do things more efficiently or help you be more efficient, help you save money. And I think all of those things deserve to be commended. I am still doing things myself as of now and very much wishing that I had done what you've done. I could have put more away in my solo 401k. And of course, I have until the tax filing deadline to do that. So I could still put some more away. But just, I think for me, because I am not married, and don't share finances with anybody. For me, there's more uses for cash than cash I actually have. Yes, I make a high income, but there's so many things that I want to be able to do. Contribute the maximum to my work 403b, contribute as much as I can to my solo 401k, do the mega backdoor Roth, do the regular backdoor Roth, and make sure that I'm donating X amount, saving a certain amount. We talked about in the last episode how I had paid off one of my student loans, almost paid off the second student loan. There's a lot of things that I'm trying to do, and I don't have all the money that I need to be able to do all of those things in the same year. So I have to prioritize. And I
Hmm.
think that maybe people listening to this can really understand where I'm coming from, right? I'm sure we would all
Yes.
love to save X amount of dollars per year and invest X amount of dollars and pay X amount of dollars down on debt. We have to pick and choose what's most important. And so for me, it's like, yes, I could invest a little bit more into taxable, or I could put a little bit more into my solo 401k, but I do also want to be able to enjoy some money. And
Hmm.
so maybe I am purposefully not going to put as much into some of those accounts as I could because I want to make sure that I'm able to enjoy it. I don't want to feel like I'm trying to reach every single financial goal tomorrow, that I'm depriving myself of so much. And I think I'm still trying to find that right balance between spending enough where I feel like I've made it, to also investing and saving and paying down enough debt where I feel like I'm really on track for financial goals. So I'm not sure what that middle ground is, but I do know that that may mean that every year, maybe I don't maximize every single account open to me. As physicians, one of the most important things that we can do is make sure that we secure our income, because a lot of our financial plans are contingent on our high doctor income. One of the things that you will need to do is make sure that you get long-term disability insurance.
Now, Pradeep and his team at PKA Insurance Group have a reputation for putting people over profits and always doing what's best. Do not hesitate to email PKA Insurance and his team today.
They will help you get the insurance you need with the service you deserve.
As we talk about financial goals, and I know we're going to dive really deep into our financial goals, but one of the things that I put on the list when Kevin and I have our end of year meeting to plan for the next year is saving for vacation. So that is a financial goal for us. So it's like that vacation we're prioritizing because we know how important it is. When we think about money, I like to kind of take a step back to think about money in itself is not the end goal for me to just amass all of this amount of money. Like, yeah, if I have a lot of money and I just sleep in it and I don't do anything, like that money is not serving me. Money is a tool for you to achieve another goal, another life dream, another impact within the world. right? So money is just one of those tools that you can use to get there. And I think about our financial goals in that same way. What are the other things that I want to do? I want to make sure that I have a healthy marriage. So that means we got to get some time away from these kids. So
So
I'm
funny.
setting money aside for us to do that. I want to make sure that my kids have experiences. So I'm setting money aside for us to do that. So when I hear you say, like, you want to enjoy life, I think that that is very much a meaningful goal for you to achieve, because if you're only amassing money to do nothing with it, then why even build it up?
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, okay, Brittany just gave me permission to go on vacation. I did. And I think that that is a financial goal worth celebrating. So when we talk about the new year, Alicia, I don't know if you have the same experience, but I think about New Year's resolutions. So one of the things I heard you say is like, oh, well, maybe I'll do like a dry January, or the undercurrent was a resolution or something that you wanted to maybe improve. And I do the same thing, but then I started to shy away from like specific resolution things to more themes for the year. So, as we talk about this, I want to ask you a question. Do you make New Year's resolutions, or do you create themes for years? Well, like, what do you do?
I don't call them resolutions, but maybe that's what they are. I basically take some time off and I reflect, what do I want to do differently in my personal life? What do I want to do differently in my financial life? What do I want to do differently in my career, in my business ventures, in my relationships, in my health and fitness? And so I think I have these different categories, and I say, okay, what do I want to achieve this year in each of those categories? And I try to make them realistic and time bound and specific and those kinds of things. Sometimes I hit them, sometimes I don't, but I think just the act of making the goal and saying, like, this is what I want to be able to achieve helps me progress forward towards something. I always want to be able to look back and say, I became a better version of myself this past year. And so I look and reflect upon what would make me a better version now.
I love that. And I think it's really important that we are reflective and that we can set a new vision of ourselves, or at least start to process where we want to be and what we want to achieve. Because if you set a goal, and they say if you write it down, actually, you're 42% more likely to achieve that goal than those who don't write it down. So I think it's really important for us to think about what we want and then write those things down. But the reason why I specifically ask about New Year's resolution is because I was reading this Forbes Health article about how frequently people stick with their New Year's resolution. And at 12 months, only 1% have kept New Year's resolution. So that means 99% of us have given it up. We didn't achieve it and we're like, oh, I'm done with that. And it's really surprising because at 4 months, only 13% have kept it. So how do we be more effective in achieving our goals and setting goals that we will stick with? And so that is kind of what I wanted to talk about in the financial focus, in addition to us spilling the tea on what our financial goals are.
That is a eye-opening stat that people are probably unlikely to stick with their New Year's resolution. So I would love to get your tips, Brittany, on what we can do to stick with them. I would like to think that I'm more successful than 1%, but maybe I'm wrong. I've been humbled before. So as we delve into this financial focus, do you have any tips for us?
Yeah. So the first thing that I learned in reading this article is, instead of creating aversion goals, meaning that you're running away from something, set action-oriented goal that you're running towards something. So I was thinking about this because over the holidays, what gets me is the candy, the sweets, the cookies. And I have a sweet tooth, and there's diabetes in my family too. And I was like, oh, you know what? I need to stop eating so many sweets. But once you say the word sweets, then I start salivating, right? And I want to eat more sweets. So it almost like plants the idea in your mind, your psychology, and you have this kind of body physical response to that. So what this article said is, instead of running away from things, you want to run towards something. Instead, I could say, okay, this year I'm going to eat an apple a day, being very specific, or a fruit a day and a vegetable a day, and just making, or fruit every meal or a vegetable every meal, and making it very clear what is the action that I need to take. And it's not that the sweets are necessarily a problem. Yes, they can be, but if I increase the amount of healthy foods that I'm eating compared to the amount of junk food that I'm eating, then that balance will ideally lean more towards the healthier side. So that's one of the things that they said is that just making action oriented goals instead of running away from something, run towards something, and you're more likely to succeed.
Okay, I like that. I like that. So instead of saying I want to spend less, maybe saying I want to save more or I want to use more money to pay down debt. I like that. I like that. As I was thinking about some of my goals, one of mine, being very specific and transparent, is to be able to save around maybe 30 or 40 grand more in cash. And that may seem like a very large number. My general investing philosophy or financial plan philosophy is that any money that I plan to use within the next 3 to 5 years, I usually like to keep in a high yield savings account. And so I'm thinking about what do I need money for? And for me, I'm thinking about down payment on a home. I'm thinking about potentially I might upgrade my car, maybe. And so I just would like more money and cash to be able to do those things. If I see a really good housing deal, see a good car deal, then I can go ahead and take the leap. That is one of my goals. So I think for me, instead of saying I want to spend less, I can say I want to save $30,000 or $40,000 in cash instead of saying I want to spend less or I want to not overspend on vacations. Maybe one of the things that I can say is I'm going to save in advance for vacations and then save an additional 10 to 15% of what I think the total cost will be so that I have this buffer zone in place. So I like that. Instead of running away from something, run towards something else.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how you're already starting the process. See, hopefully you're doing the same thing as you're listening to this episode. So, another thing when I think about goals, oftentimes when we're setting New Year's resolutions specifically, it requires a major shift from something that we're currently doing. We have to modify a habit that we're currently implementing to do something else. And habits are hard to break. Have you read the book Atomic Habits? I think you have.
I am
think you mentioned
reading it. I'm
Okay,
reading it.
okay.
I should have been done with it. So, that's a whole other story. But I'm reading it and I'm finding it enjoyable. I'm finding it
Yes,
enjoyable.
very good. I don't have the actual well, we probably actually do have the book, but I listened to it on Audible, so I did not read the physical book. But one of the things that he talks about is pairing new things that you want to achieve with a current habit and doing this habit stacking
Yes.
methodology. So I really love to think about that. If I want to do more squats, then let me habit stack and do my squats as I'm brushing my teeth. You're supposed to brush your teeth for 2 minutes. That's 2 minutes of squats. And then the next time, maybe I can add that with some weights and kind of evaluate things that I am already doing and how can I habit stack so that I can achieve the goal that I want to achieve. I like to eat sushi. So, like every other Friday, I'll get sushi, oftentimes just for me. Instead of just making this a dinner that I'm eating while my family's eating something else. How about I get sushi? I bring that home for lunch, and then that's going to be the time that I review my finances, right? The sushi is the pleasurable thing. I'm reviewing my finances. Maybe I don't want to really do it, but I'm pairing it with something, a habit that I've already established. So that's one of the ways that I think we can be more effective in achieving these goals.
Yes, I did remember that part from the book. I love your idea about you doing squats as you're brushing your teeth. I love that. I love that. I am trying to eat more fruits and vegetables as well. So I used to make a smoothie every morning and just put fruits and veggies in it so I could go throughout my day and know that I got the 3 to 5 servings of fruits and veggies that I need each day. But as it's gotten cold outside, I've been a little more reluctant to make a smoothie because it's cold and I'm already cold. So I'm trying to figure out maybe I can have it second, just drink the smoothie when I'm at home. Maybe allow myself to drink it in bed, like make it and then get snuggle back in bed as I'm reading my devotional and enjoy my smoothie then. I don't know. I got to figure out some sort of habit, like you said, to stack on it so that I could make that a thing. So I love your idea. I got to think a little bit more about this, but I'm loving the concept. I'm loving the concept. Keep it going.
Love that. So we're almost there. So the other thing that I think could be really impactful is connecting your goals to your core value and your why. So you did this just now. You said, okay, I want to save $40,000. Sometimes people just say, oh, I want to save $40,000. Well, why? I mean, what is it going to do for you? I want to save $40,000 so that I could purchase a new home. Well, okay, what is that new home going to do for you? And really just trying to delve deeper and ask yourself why. In QI, y'all know I'm all about the quality improvement here. So in QI, there's a technique that we use called the 5 whys to really understand the root cause of an issue. So I would challenge you, if you have a goal to eat healthier, to save more money, whatever the case may be, ask yourself why 5 times. Because oftentimes you'll get to a deeper meaning that is at the core of who you are. And when you can connect your goal to that deeper meaning, you're more likely to succeed because it's not just going to be some esoteric goal that you've just created. Now it's going to be emotionally connected and you're going to have that kind of spirit, soul, physical connection. And it's going to be a very strong reminder when you don't want to do the thing that you need to do so that you can achieve that goal. Because oftentimes it's not just the weight loss, it's not just eating healthier, it's not just savings, it's something else there that is a deep down, sometimes hidden emotional goal that we're trying to achieve so that we can be our better self or have self actualization or connect with family and be able to support them, etc. So connecting it to your why and really diving deep to your core values will allow you to achieve it more effectively.
I think I inadvertently did that when I had decided I was going to give more. And I said,
Mhm.
I identify as a generous person. I want that to be one of my core traits. I think I stacked that with 5% of any extra money that I get. I'm going to make a plan to give that away or put that into a giving fund. Why am I going to do that? Because I want to be a generous person. That is one of my core values. So I tried to do that. And I think it's helped me stick with it. I actually haven't had as much trouble with it. The problem, I think, is that in December, everything just gets wrecked because I'm trying to give so much to so many people, to so many charities. And I'm like, wait, I gave how much? I bought how much in gifts? Oof, I need to rectify the spending. I see the credit card statements and I'm like, did I really spend that? Or did somebody steal my card number? It's like, nope, you made that purchase. So I'm diving off the deep end. But anyway, I like that advice of connecting the goals to the core values. That is good. That's good.
All right. And then this is my last one. And I was trying to think of an alliteration to say with this one. So this would be to automate, establish an accountability partner, and to show appreciation. All right. So that's like three things together, right? But the automation is it removes you. It removes you. So the fact that you said like, oh, 5% of your 1099 income you're putting towards this account and it's going to be your giving fund. I assume that there was some automation there, but if not, automation takes out the guesswork. It's going to happen whether there's a snowstorm outside, it's going to happen whether your kids are sick, it's going to happen whether you're on vacation. You just remove the barriers. Accountability is also key. I don't know about you all, but when I had a personal trainer, I showed up because I paid my money. Even when I did not even pay my money, when I had a running group and I knew that there were two other women waiting for me to go on this 4-mile run, I woke up. If I was only accountable to myself, I would have stayed asleep. So establishing an accountability partner, or at least just telling someone about your goals, because when the next time you see that person, they're going to ask you about it. And then you're like, oh, okay, I do need to continue on. And then the last thing is a show appreciation. I think oftentimes when we're trying to achieve a goal and we're not there yet, or we've had setbacks, we tend to harp on the setback, which paralyzes us and it defeats us from moving forward. But there is some appreciation, like there is a blessing in the problem or that you might have, right? So the fact that you've established that goal is a step forward. The fact that you've written it down and you've made some progress. Remember, no one runs a marathon from being a couch potato. It requires them to take the first step, to run the first mile, to run 5 miles, etc. So show appreciation for how far you've come, and that will help you to establish a ladder for you to continue to climb to reach your goal.
I love that. Okay, so automation, I've done that with my investing for the most part. For example, when I do my backdoor Roth IRA each year, which I usually do in the month of January, I don't like just taking $7,000 out of a different account and like investing it. So I like to like save in advance over time. So I think I put maybe $800 a month into a brokerage account that's in like cash or whatever, that's just kind of sitting there. And then I know January of each year, I'm going to have at least $7,000 or whatever that I can use for the backdoor Roth. And so I've kind of automated that part of, okay, a certain amount of money each month is going to go towards this account that I'm going to use to do my backdoor Roth each year. So that's something that I think I've done that's been very helpful. Another thing that I've done is like saving for vacations and travel. So some of my extra income, you know how you can set up like your direct deposit, and a lot of places you can have it go to more than one bank account. So I'll have 20% go to my savings account. So that way I don't have to physically move the money from the checking to the savings. It's automatically there. And I'm sure you're thinking, well, what's the problem with moving it? I don't move it. That's the problem. It's spent before it's moved. It was so funny. I had gotten like paid from the urgent care, and I remember getting a notification that the money had hit my deposit or my bank. And I logged in and I was like, I thought that would be a little bit more, but whatever. I'm sure they did the math. And then I remembered that I had changed the direct deposit so that some of the money actually goes to my savings. And it was such a pleasant surprise. I was like, ooh, got a little extra money in this savings account.
Out of sight, out of mind, right?
It was great. It was great. I was like, okay, yes. This this is what I wanted to do. Wanted to build up my vacation fund, wanted to build up my savings, have money going to these different pots. And so automating it has been great. I love your idea about an accountability partner. I don't have as much trouble with this in some of my financial goals, but I do have some difficulty with this with some of my more personal goals. It's so funny. My family knows that I'm trying to cut back on the wine, which has been kind of a pain in the butt because now every time they see me drink wine, they're like, I thought you were cutting back. And I'm like, okay, I am. Okay. But that does not mean that I have given it up entirely. Mind your business. Anyway, but it's been a good push for me. So I might need to employ something like that when it comes to exercising consistently. I do that with my patients. I'm a sports doc. So anybody that I'm sending to physical therapy, sometimes they'll say, well, can you give me home exercises to do? And I will sometimes, but then I will follow up with them and I'll go, how have we done that? Have we missed a couple of days? And inevitably people laugh and they say, I haven't really done it. I'm like, okay, well, let's send you to formal physical therapy. Let's add a little accountability. Sometimes when you're having to show up somewhere and you have a set appointment, you're more consistent. And so that does work for my patients. So I should probably employ those same techniques for myself.
Yes, it works. It works. It reminds you that this is something that I said I was going to do and I haven't achieved yet. And I should probably get back working towards this goal. So speaking of goals, so you highlighted drinking a little less wine, saving $30,000 to $40,000. What else is on your list? And these might be some things that you've already achieved in 2024. Like, what are your other financial goals?
Ooh, okay. So we talked about me saving even more money. So I want to save another 30 to 40 grand this year. I would love to completely have that. I think I've learned $10,000 of that private student loan left. I would love to just go ahead and knock that out. So hopefully I can use OPM, other people's money, to pay that off. But if not, I will pay that off myself. One of my goals, I want to continue to contribute the maximum to my work retirement accounts, do my backdoor Roth IRA each year, contribute more money towards my solo 401k. Normally, I would make this more specific, but the amount that I can contribute is based on net profit. So how much money my business makes. So that's kind of fluid. So I can't say a specific number there, but I think the theme is making sure that I'm investing a good amount into retirement accounts. So definitely the $23,500 now, because it went up for 2025. So investing $23,500 into my workforce 403b, doing the $7,000 into my backdoor Roth, getting my employer match from the work retirement accounts, and then putting some money into solo 401k. So those are some of my financial goals. What about you? I'm curious.
I love your financial goals, by the way. I have some of the same financial goals. So maxing out retirement accounts. This year, I also want to purchase 2 rental properties.
Ooh.
So I
Slight
know.
flex. Okay, 2 properties.
2 properties, 2 properties. They will not be in Boston because the market here is too expensive. But yes, 2 properties. So in thinking about this, and I think maybe we could talk about this a little bit later in more detail, but one of the reasons why I have historically contributed to a 457B account was for the tax savings. But now I'm thinking if I'm going to purchase these 2 rental properties, right, we're going to need additional cash flow in order to do that. And then they're going to give me certain tax benefits. If we do like a cost segregation study or forced appreciation and all of these things, then is it necessary for me to use a 457B account? And we'll talk about this in later episodes, but it really depends on the institution that you're working for. And I think I want to have a little bit more control of some things. So that's one of the things I'm considering. Do I really need the 457B this year or not? Beefing up our emergency funds and make sure we have 6 months of expenses, especially before we take on additional risk with the real estate property, increasing solo 401k. And then I wrote a check to myself the other, maybe like 2 months ago, but I wrote a check to myself by May 2nd, actually, of 2025, that I had this $400,000. So
Wait, hold on. What? Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't want to pause the podcast, but basically that's what I'm doing right now. I'm sorry. You wrote a check to yourself. I was floored at that. And then the amount just made my eyes pop out of my head. I'm sorry. I need more details. Also, are you richer than I thought?
I don't think I'm richer than you thought. Because my brain is very concrete, it is sometimes hard for me to visualize certain things. So I am trying to improve my ability to visualize things. And they said when you write down your goals, you're going to be more successful in achieving them. And one of the things that I want to achieve is to increase my income so that I can retire earlier. And I already make a great income as a physician, but I want to increase the amount that I generate through my side gigs. And so this was for me visualization that, okay, I'm going to do my side gig like I do my main gig. I'm going to really put myself out there and market it myself so that I can generate this additional 200 grand that is necessary for me to achieve this. So this was just more so, I'm not going to be cashing this check for myself, I don't think, but it was more of a visualization of writing down my goals and thinking about what I need to do in order to achieve them. And because I have had a lot of imposter syndrome, it sometimes prevents me from putting myself out there and marketing myself and demanding my value. So that was just a commitment to myself and visualizing what I want to do. And then now I have to put together the action plan of how I'm going to achieve it.
So your goal is to be able to make 400 grand this year. Okay. Okay. I thought that you were just like, yeah, I got, $400,000 check. I'm like, okay, can I volunteer as tribute? Can you contribute to the Dr. Taylor Fund since you have so much to give? I mean, that's still on the table, by the way. So if you are feeling generous, I volunteer. But I love that. I love that you're writing it down. I love that you're making it plain, making it visible. There may be some doctors listening to this podcast saying, oh, that's so feasible. You could totally do that by working more shifts at the hospital and whatnot. But it seems like you want to be able to make that income in other ways that don't include always being at the hospital, always being away from your family and your home.
Yes, yes. And this is not like a household income type of thing. This is just like a Brittany thing. Like, and this is my goal.
Okay, flex again on us. Flex again on us. Okay. By the way, what she meant was this does not include her husband. So all of y'all listening that were like, oh, that's because she has a husband. No, she said, this is me. We already know her and her husband do things a little differently and separately. But I love that for you. I am happy for you. I'm sending all the good juju, good vibes, positive prayers, all the things your way. I want you to be able to achieve your goals and make as much money as possible because I'm a firm believer that when your cup runneth over, it's going to run on me. Sure. I'm very supportive. Very, very supportive. So hold on, since you got so much money, what is something fun that you are doing with your money?
Yeah. So I am planning this trip. Right. So we're using credit card points to go on our trip. Our anniversary is May 23rd.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. 10 years. My gosh, it's crazy that I've been married for that long.
In a good way. In a good way. People in a good
It
way.
wasn't clear.
It wasn't clear. It wasn't clear.
It is just mind boggling. I don't know. Like I remember the first day we met. It is crazy. When you get married, you set yourself out to be married for a lifetime, but you know that 50% of marriages still end in divorce. And marriage is not easy. I mean, it's a joy when you look at it over all that we've been through, all that we've achieved together, all that we've done. But I also know that a lot of people, I have friends who have been married and divorced. It's just kind of crazy. And I hope that we get to 20 and 30 and 40 and we live till we're like super old and gray and changing somebody's diapers. Thankfully, we're not there yet. But that's what I'm doing fun with money is now I'm cashing in these credit card points and we're planning out this trip. What excursions do we want? What do we want to do? And so it's really interesting. We're going to likely go to Portugal. We're still on the Portugal or Colombia, but I think May is probably not the best time to go to Colombia. So I think we'll likely go to Portugal instead, or maybe just do a couple of sites in Europe. But I've heard really great things of Portugal. So still trying to figure it out, but we need to make some decisions very quickly because May will be here before you know it.
Yeah, I know that's been one of your goals is to get even better at accumulating credit card points and even more skilled at redeeming credit card points for really good value. So it's music to my ears to hear you talk about how you are planning this amazing anniversary trip. 10 years, all right? 10 years? That's
10 years.
Quite a milestone. With your husband. I'm assuming this is a trip with you and him and no kids. So
yes.
More power to you. That is, of course, always how I travel. Very excited to hear about your trip and what you're able to get on points and that sort of thing. I'll keep up with your theme. Of course, trying to also accumulate even more points and get even better at redeeming points. Some of the trips are up in the air, but I do know that I'm going on this cruise, which I think I had mentioned before. One of my friends is getting married. She's having her bachelorette cruise. That's at the end of February. So we're going to the Bahamas as part of that trip. She's getting married in Jamaica at the end of May. So we'll be doing that. My family does like cousins trips, which I know sounds really, really like what? But yeah, some of my cousins, we all get together and we like to go on trips. And in 2025, we are going to Greece and Turkey. Very, very excited about that. I am, like you, gonna search for some flights to Europe on points, see if I can snag that. And we'll see if I can figure out which days I want to go there and come back. I might spend a couple extra days like in Paris or something like that and try to, of course, book those hotels and stuff on points. So those of you who are listening to me talk and are like, wow, y'all just sound rich. Just know most of the travel stuff I do not pay for with cash. Most of the travel stuff I pay for using credit card points. So those are some of my trips. I've had some friends say, hey, Alicia, let's go to Japan or let's go here or there. So I'll have have to look and see if I can fit it into my schedule. But I know right now I have some of those trips planned. So I am very much looking forward to that.
Yay. We'll have to talk about the details of us redeeming points. And
Yes.
yes, yeah, I think that would be a good episode. So it'll probably be a saga. I'm still new to this, people, but I'm really looking forward to hearing how we achieve our goals, what goals you all are setting. So if you follow us on social media, let us know what goals you're setting. If you have any questions, feel free to use the link that is in the show notes and send us over your questions so we can respond to them and give our take on said thing.
That's exactly right. And before we close out this show, we want to remind you that enrollment for our program Boost is about to close. And so if you are interested in learning how to make more money in your job and outside of your job, getting better at negotiating, monetizing a passion, establishing some 1099 income, and all of those things, Brittany and I are happy to help coach you through that. So we'll put the link in the show notes of how you can sign up. And yes, until then, we will see you next week.
Hello, and thank you for listening to our podcast. And because of that, we have something for you, our Wealthy Minds Blueprint.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I wish I could be better with money? Do you want to start investing and saving for retirement, but keep delaying because you don't know where to start? Our Wealthy Minds Blueprint is here to help.
This guide will teach you what you didn't learn in your training so you can stop being confused about money and start taking what we call wealthy-minded action.
We'll help you become a master of your finances and simplify investing so you can get started today. Take control of your financial future by downloading your free copy of the Wealthy Minds Blueprint now and start building the wealth you deserve.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Brooke. I'm recording a little disclaimer for my mommy, Dr. Brittany Halford, and her friend, Dr. Lisa Taylor. Just so you know, they're not financial advisors, tax professionals, lawyers, or financial planners. Everything you hear is for education and entertainment. It's not strict financial advice, you know. So use your best judgment, chat with a tax professional, and all those other people that you need to talk to. Thanks for tuning in today. Keep cruising on your journey to wealth and wellness. Bye-bye.
One of the most important things you can do is ensure you have long-term disability insurance. Long-term disability insurance secures your income if the unexpected happens and you are unable to work due to medical illness, chronic conditions, or an accident.
Unfortunately, all insurance agents aren't created equal. Some of them are so focused on making a sale that they fail to reveal certain necessary information, tell you about discounts available, or clearly explain the process. Pradip Botto and his team at PKA Insurance Group are different. They have a reputation of putting people over profits and always doing what's best.
If you need life insurance or disability insurance, reach out to Pradip and his team today. They will help you get the insurance you need with the service you deserve.